14 Truckers when Steven Seagal stars in the action-packed Exit Wounds, your Sunday movie premiere.
Tonight on 60 Minutes.
High adventure on the high seas. And a hell of a way to make a living.
It's a bit of a young mutt's game, I think.
Rovers of the deep in the great Australian boat.
Wrestle them. It's the only way to get the sharks out. You've got to get in there with them and get them out.
It's a world first.
Just watch what you're f***ing doing.
A multi-million-dollar revolution.
Put it on, put it on, put it on.
A hardy breed of Australian fishermen.
Look at it, 30 kilo. I can hardly carry it. Bloody heavy. I'm very happy.
On a bold mission to feed the world.
It is not if, but when. It's just a matter of time.
I think it's a story worth telling.
A very personal story.
If it wasn't for the children, I would have killed myself.
One that goes to the very heart of my own family.
As a daughter, it was so hard seeing Mum in that absolute state of despair. It was really hard.
That affects 1 in 5 Australians.
I think I'm going mad because I don't know what's wrong with me and I'm not meant to be like this.
Depression, the epidemic we try to hide.
Well, there was nothing, there was no meaning to life.
An inspiring journey back from the deepest of deep despair.
I love them so much for helping me get through it. And they continue to.
Go ahead. Make my day.
He's the classic Hollywood tough guy.
Roll it, cut, print.
Up for a swag of Oscars.
There's only one person you really have to satisfy, and that's yourself.
But wait till you see the real Clint Eastwood.
This will be the first fall coming down here.
On his home turf in Monterey.
You are nothing like any of your movies.
Retake.
He's nothing. Zilch. Zero.
Dirty Harry turns doting dad.
No facelifting, no tampering. We call it tampering. He's never tampered. You?
Tamed by the love of his life.
He's only changed for the better. But he hasn't made any big leaps of any kind.
Knock it off.
I'm Tara Brown.
I'm Charles Woolley.
I'm Peter Overton.
I'm Richard Carlton.
And I'm Liz Hayes. Those stories and Peter Harvey's mailbag tonight on 60 Minutes.
One in 5 Australians will suffer from depression. That's frightening, but it's just a statistic. The truth is, you can't really understand what it means unless you've actually had depression or watched someone you love struggling with this terrible illness. It can be a private, lonely pain. After all, there's still a stigma attached to any kind of mental illness. That's one of the reasons why so few sufferers ever get proper treatment. It's also why we're doing this story tonight. A very difficult, very personal journey, one that goes to the very heart of my own family.
I feel a bit nervous, but I think it's a story worth telling because I think it's a story that's not just unique to Mum and I and to our family. I think it happens to so many families, and that's why we've decided to do it.
It's the illness no one wants to talk about, a condition that's becoming an epidemic. But for me, it's personal. It's depression. That's why my wife, Jessica Rowe, and her mother, Penny, chose to be part of this report. When did you first know that you had a mental illness?
I probably didn't know till in my late 20s, but from my adolescence I knew there was something wrong with me.
How bad did it get? How low did you go with your bipolar?
I think that if it wasn't for the children, I would have killed myself. Because it was just total despair. Life, there was nothing, there was no meaning to life.
The Penny Rowe I know is intelligent, articulate, vivacious, an accomplished author now working on her 6th book. But for much of her life, she has suffered from bipolar disorder. Once known as manic depression, this illness is characterised by manic highs and crippling lows.
I was unable to eat. I was unable to speak. I could hardly move. I couldn't read. Couldn't watch television. I couldn't even really think. And they'd say to me, "What are you thinking about?" And I'd say, "Nothing." And they'd say, "No, you must have thoughts in your head." And it would be something like, I would look and I'd say, "Table." For me to see my beautiful mother, the person that I love so much, just disintegrate in front of me was terrible.
Jessica's parents separated when she was very young. The eldest of 3 girls, she was 10 when her mother was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
I have so many memories of going to visit Mum in hospital, and that was so difficult because I'd be there with my 2 sisters and we'd be arriving and I'd be thinking to myself, God, what will Mum be like today? Will she remember that we were here yesterday? Will she be so catatonic that she can't speak to us? As a daughter, it was so hard seeing Mum in that absolute state of despair when, you know, you would be in hospital for 3 months at a time. And it was really hard.
I know, and you were a little girl, and it was hard for me because, as I say, one of the things is the guilt that anyone feels. You feel guilty because you're depressed for a start and you're not getting on with life. But then to have 3 little daughters, and Jessica was sort of looking after her little sister. She had to mother her sisters. Well, that's it. That necklace is quite pretty.
With a butterfly.
The butterfly. Oh, no, the butterfly's silly.
I remember just the enormous pressure that I felt because I was the eldest. I thought, I have to be responsible. I've got to look after my younger sisters. I felt responsible for you. If I had a magic wand, I would have waved it. I would have done anything.
Trains Wednesday. Eddie Meyer is looking at trains again.
It goes on and on.
The pain Jessica has suffered is not something her workmates or the viewers of Network 10 ever see.
The Olympian, Shirley Strickland.
Tribute.
Yeah.
Here she's the confident nightly newsreader. But her pain is real.
Good afternoon, I'm Jessica Rowe, coming up in the 5 o'clock news.
And so too her desire to help others.
Mental illness is a topic that's very close to my heart. It's not a glamorous topic, perhaps because there's nothing beautiful about someone suffering a mental illness.
Here at a fundraiser, her speech touches on the personal and hammers home just how big a problem depression is.
Did you know that 1 in 5 Australians will suffer some type of mental illness in their lives?
What makes me so sad is to think about the people out there who don't have that support, who are either ashamed to put up their hand and say, I need some help, I'm struggling here. That makes me so sad.
Mm-hmm. Only 1 in 6 are better.
You need kind, hard-working doctors. You need as much support from your family and friends as you can get. I think that is absolutely crucial and critical.
For Penny Rowe, treatment has involved electroconvulsive therapy and medication. The mother her family nearly lost is now happy and well.
About 30, 31, I was finally diagnosed, and it was such a relief to be able to put a name that there was something wrong with me. Because otherwise, you think I'm going mad because I don't know what's wrong with me and I'm not meant to be like this. There was no explanation, but then there was an explanation and it was great.
And you remember you used to come in and say, "Hi, Mum, how was your day? Staring at the wall?"
But that was sad, though. No, but you would just, because you'd just been literally doing that all day. But we would try to make light of it because sometimes you have to. You know.
You have to.
But Mum would actually be quite
And now I'm a part of it.
I say to my daughters, hang on to the good times. You know, when they're wonderful, just hang on to it and keep that memory tucked away in there. If the bad times come,
so you can draw
on the memory and say, I know there can be really great times.
But then what about when we say, I think we've done enough character building. Yes, we have. Aren't we strong enough already? Come on, Mum. Yeah.
Coming up.
You are nothing like any of your movies. No facelifting, no tampering with any kind.
Knock it off. That's next on 60 Minutes.